Hello everybody, Hellcracks here. Welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from an Intersphere episode, I think, 209 now. And today we're going to be talking about the Venom, the 35-ton mech that it's good, bad, and ugly. A lot of good things are good about it and some bad things about it. Now, the Venom, 35 tons, is an 8-12-8. So basically it's an upscaled spider from the same manufacturer that makes the spider, I guess. The Venom, follows along the same lines as the spider, does a lot of the same things, but, with being 5 tons more and running around with XL engines and ferrofibrous armor, it's gonna, obviously toss on a few more items on there like weaponry. Now, one of the major drawbacks of this mech is it only has 12 heat sinks. So, yeah. Okay. So, we got ferrofibrous armor. It's year 3055. Now, I know the mech says it was built and came on the manufacture in 3050, just in time for the clans. But, by 3055 book, it should have a lot of these problems fixed. Now, it does have 4 medium pulse lasers. It has 2 in each of the left and right torso. So it does have some firepower in extreme short range, but, with a mech that's a 8-12-8, yeah, it can get there pretty quickly. Now, it does have in the left and right torso 4 jump jets each. So there's where your 8 jump jets are located also in the torso. And, with the ferrofibrous armor, taking up some space, yeah, you got pretty much everything's taken care of there. Now, what's good about it, it has good mobility. Firepower is pretty decent. Extreme short range of 6 or less. That's 2 things in its favor. Now, like I said, one of the big major problems with this mech is it only carries around 12 heat sinks. So you're looking at, if this thing gets in range, it's going to be a dive in, dive out type mech, looking for cover and concealment to cool off. And it doesn't cool off very fast, because if you are using the full 8 jump and you fire all of the pulse lasers, so there's 24, it's going up 12 on the heat scale. And if you jump away 8, you're only dropping by 4, and that leaves you still sitting on the 8 on the heat scale. And at 8 on the heat scale, well, at least you don't have to worry about the -2 movement modifier, but you still get the +1 modifier to fire and -1 to your mod. Now, so that one turn where you fire everything and you jump, let's say up to 8, basically your mech is going to be a 6-9-8. Obviously you're going to have to use the jump jets to get around with that thing. Now, that's one of the problems I find all the time with the Venom. And I've used it before. It is strictly what I call a fast recon type mech. Its whole purpose is to do a lot of harassment, get in, get out type of deal. But it does have a problem, with a lot of heat. And when you got something that as hot as this thing is running, you would think that, well, you'd want something to cool it off, like double heat sinks. And by the 3055 book, you should have double heat sinks on this thing. Now, the second major drawback of this mech is it only carries 3.5 tons of armor, so it only has 63 points. It's basically just has enough armor on this thing to keep the pilot from falling out. And you take any major hit, it's going right into the internal structure. The only time this mech can take a 10-point shot, like say from a PPC or a clan pulse, large pulse laser, is the center torso. If it gets hit by a Gauss round, that punched right through. It's taking off pretty much everywhere. That limb is gone except for the center torso, and then you're going to have most of it. Everything's gone already. So that's the biggest problem with this mech, is that it does have problems with armor. So when a mech like this, it can't take many hits, and if it does, it's going right into the juicy parts of it already. So you're stuck with looking at a mech that definitely needs a major increase of armor on it, and that would entail probably, I'd be happy, well, taking a couple of those medium pulse lasers and maybe drop them down to large or medium lasers instead, and take 2 tons and add at least 2 more tons of armor on board. So at least run around with 5.5, and 5.5 isn't great, but at least it's better than nothing. And you're keeping this mech a little bit better, so it can brawl a little bit. With typically you're going to be running against anti-scouts or something like that. If you get into a fight with a mech that's an anti-scout mech, that's going to have a little bit more firepower, and it's going to be punching holes through something like this when it does connect. And that's one of the problems with the Venom I've always found, is that it sounds great on paper, but when you take it into the field, it doesn't last very long. And the same thing with like the Spider. However you use the Spider, you're going to be using the Venom the same way. And the Spider has the same problem as the Venom, is that it has a heat problem, and it has a lack of armor problem too. But the Spider is 5 tons less. But your internal structure as a blade of armor, it's not always a smart case, because when you got XL engines like this thing does, it doesn't take much to kill it. And I found that that's the problem with the Venom, is that with his XL engines and hardly any armor, it doesn't take much but one good hit or 2 hits and it's dead. Now, there are a few variants of this mech. There's their 9Ka. We've been talking about the 9K. And the A version, introduced in 56, removes one of the medium pulse lasers and basically adds 2 more tons of armor. So now it has 5.5 tons of armor. That's not bad. That's like what I've been saying. Personally, I think you might be better off just keeping the 4 energy weapons and then just downgrade. Actually, by downgrading them to medium lasers, at least you have, getting a little bit more range, with it. The pulse lasers are nice when you got a mech that likes to jump a lot. At least you have something that can negate some of that problem with it. But at least the 9K is adding a little bit more armor to it. Then you got the 9KB. This one came out in 56. It basically removes one of the medium pulse lasers and replaces it with a single machine gun and a 0.5 ton of armor or ammo. And basically the battle value of it's a little bit less, but at least with a machine gun you have something that can, well, have a little bit of anti-infantry mode with it, just straight leg or mechanized infantry, whatever it may be. An infantry squad or platoon is going to get hit by a machine gun, is going to hurt a lot. So at least that, if you got one of the versions like this in amongst some of them, that's not bad. Then we have the 9KC, that came out in 3066, which is 11 years after this book. And then finally they started addressing some of the problems with the mech. It gives it endo steel, so now you have ferrofibrous endo steel. It has 11 double heat sinks, so there takes care of a lot of the heat problems. Removes one of the medium lasers, and gives it a C3 slave, so that helps out. And it also has 7 tons of armor on board, which, you know, and when you look at it that way, that's 7 tons of armor is, you know, that's, let's see, I think it's 119's max, so yeah, that takes care of it. So that's not bad at all. You know, when you think about it, in that case, hey, they answered a lot of the problems with it. You know, you're giving a eyes and ear mech with a lot of armor on board, so it can take some hits. With a C3 system, you're bringing your lance mates up closer when it comes to the firing solution, and that's good. You took care of the heat problem, and then you have endo steel, so you're gaining, you know, a little bit extra equipment on board. So you got 3 medium pulse lasers. So yeah, your range of your weapon systems is so, but at least you have some other things, aspects of it that are doing a little bit better. Then we have the 9KE. This is the recon version. Carries a single ER medium laser and ER flamer. And it has a wing system with remote sensor dispensers, mine dispensers and stuff. Basically, that's used for getting in and get out and causing problems for other individuals that may be out there in the field. So overall, that is pretty much it when it comes to variants of Venom. The 9KC, I have used that one before, and when we're playing against during the Jihad or that era with, you know, against like the Word of Blake, etc. So it worked out pretty good. It's not, that version's not too bad. It takes care of a lot of problems that you see with the standard Venom. Now, if I was gonna do something with the Venom, personally, I would just do 10 double heat sinks, then take that 2 tons, throw it over into armor, and then downgrade 2 of the pulse lasers, and then give it, it'd have 3, well, downgraded one, this is what I've done before, is like 3, you have 3 medium pulse lasers, and when the time comes when you can get an ER medium laser, throw one of those on with a C3 slave. There you go. And that makes it a pretty decent mech. So you got 10 doubles. It's still an A12-8 with XLs, but then you're running around with 7 tons of armor, ferrofibrous, and it does have endo steel. So there you go. All right, so that is the Venom in a nutshell. All right, it's not a great mech, not bad. It could be a lot better, but there you go. All right, hope you guys like this one. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcrux out.